My name's Glenn Benson and I'm the president of Geelong Swimming Club. I joined the club in 2015 when my daughter joined, and I became president in 2016.
Performance-wise is to be the best club in Victoria and one of the best in the country. And I genuinely believe that we can get there and we will be there. So that's my number one goal.
As a president, I'd like to ensure that the Geelong Swimming Club is there for another 135 years, and to do that we need to build towards our strategic plan. We need to make sure there's income streams coming into the club so as we can pay professional coaching staff and make sure we've got the best product. We've got to make sure that we've got learn to swim facilities so that we've got a constant pathway for our swimmers to enter the club, and we have to have long-term relationships with our pool providers and councils so that we can provide the environment for all of these people to flourish. So my goal is to, as president, is to set up the processes and systems that the club needs to survive for the next 100 years, and do my best not to get caught up in the day-to-day activities of the club, so as the club's future is assured.
To integrate the club and the swimming program together, to show kids, learn to swim kids that swimming is a sport to choose, and it's a great sport to be a part of. So integrating the swimming club with the swim school, so going off and having relay challenges or having mini club nights, where we've got the biggest swimmers coming down and racing or helping out the learn to swim kids if they want to do some fast 25s or kickboard races or noodle races. I remember I was born in New Zealand, and I remember being a junior swimmer and just seeing the 19, 20, 21 year olds, even the 14, 15, 16 year olds, they were just so much bigger than me, and to be around them and to see them swim fast, I still remember the excitement of how I felt when they were around. So that I'd love for that to be a part of the swim school, and for the swimming club to be a part of the swim school as well.
An emphasis on younger swimmers, so building up a club. I feel that a club is only as good as its base, and junior and new swimmers are very important to a club, and it's important to build that base to be able to have growth and success at the top.
Two come to mind. Last year when we did the Tough 10, which was a swimming camp that we did just in the Geelong region, where the swimmers, we ended up swimming over 2 weeks. They swam 22 times. We swam 110 kilometres and we walked 60 kilometres over that 2 weeks. It was just a great time, a lot of bonding, which is what happens when you spend so much time together and where you go through something challenging. And also this year's country championships in Warrnambool. It was just 3 days of awesomeness, a lot of positivity, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of fast swimming. At country championships you don't always do PBs, but you swim fast and you compete hard. So that was really rewarding to be a part of a great team, really.
There's been three moments that stick out in my mind really clearly. One was I was in Port Douglas on holidays at the time, and Max Pierock was swimming in the Australian Nationals, and he wasn't expected to final, and my daughter and I stopped and live streamed his performance, and it was unbelievable. He made the final. It was probably one of the most exciting things I've seen in swimming. The second one was a performance by Zach Hussain. It was only last year at Countries, the 200 IM. Zach was coming second to a well-known rival in the breaststroke leg, and then in the final leg he performed a magnificent turn and beat his rival in the last leg. And just to see how he'd done that, and in particular that Zach hadn't done a lot of training before that, and you could just see by all the red blood vessels all on top of his back and all that lactic acid was going through the roof, and the guy won on heart. And if anyone epitomises the club and the tenacity, it's Zach. And I suppose the last thing that really sticks with me was last year at Countries we came second to Traralgon, a very narrow second, and our head coach Sam Ashby ensured that everyone stayed back after the meet. This has not normally been the practice, and in fact we were the only other club other than Traralgon, the winners, that stayed back. And Sam addressed all of the swimmers, all of the parents, and all of the coaches, and he said an absolutely rousing speech about what it's like to be part of such a fantastic club, and what it's like to be part of the club in general. And you could see by the way, the emotion that he put into the speech, that he was completely converted to Geelong Swimming Club from Traralgon, and that his heart and soul was behind every single swimmer. And to me, that speech will stay with me for a long time.
In 1962, the Commonwealth Games in Perth, a small Victorian club, Geelong Western Swimming Club, or Geelong West Swimming Club, we came home with 2 gold medals, 2 world records, 3 Commonwealth Games records, and 3 of our life members, Bill Lamont, John Doak and Ron Doak, were accredited swimming officials at those games, and it was supported by friends and family in Perth. And for a small country club to do that, that was a great moment.
So many memorable moments as a club member. Just the amount of times we've had our club championships, having the standard relay teams just competing against each other, and especially competing at championship meets is always a great thing to do. Whether it's with friends, against friends, there's nothing better than just competing as a team.
One of the finest moments was country championships. We won back in 1998, I think in Warrnambool. And then to actually, from there, to actually develop swimmers to be able to compete at Australian championships. Was able to go to the Paralympics with Daniel Bell. I've had 4 world championships, Down syndrome world championships with Phoebe, and I also had the opportunity to go to the Beijing Olympics with Kate Allen as her swimming coach. But while they are the highlights, one of the most enjoyable things about coaching is actually helping young people achieve their goals. And it's not always around swimming, it's also around their personal development. And there aren't very many swimmers that don't have very successful adult lives because of the life skills that they learn through the discipline of swimming. And to be able to foster that and encourage it has always been really important to me as a coach. And when it all boils down to it, that is probably the main highlight.
Most memorable moments as a swimmer would have to definitely be probably some of our camps away, like our old Russell Parsons camps in Echuca with the boys, camping out in the cabins, carrying on, not getting much sleep, and then having to get up at 5:30 and get smashed by John and Russell was always good fun. Definitely countries are always super memorable, especially those ones when you were younger and you get to hang out with the older swimmers. I remember when I started countries, short course countries in 2006 in Shepparton, and that's sort of where I got to meet a lot of the swimmers, and there were still guys like Steph Taylor and Liv Dalton still swimming, and get to know them really well, and that was great. But yeah, definitely most memorable moments were definitely countries, trips away, camps to Tassie like that. AIS was always heaps of fun, heaps of mischief on the bus, those sorts of things, memories that stick with you forever for sure.
My most memorable moments of being a Geelong Swimming Club member would definitely be all of the country championships, predominantly when we had Damien Watson and Matt Watson and Duncan Lester. They led some sing-alongs poolside. I clearly remember singing to Knock Knock Knocking on Heaven's Door, but it was Knock Knock Knocking on Traralgon's Door, and all the swimming club chants we would do all together. I remember the pool leaking at the Bendigo Country Championships, and it was put on hold, and Geelong Swimming Club was called up to sing on the microphone to everyone, and yeah, that was a really special time. And also just all the trainings where we got to muck around and push each other to achieve our best.
One of my most memorable moments is happy hours with our coaching panel, pre-national championships, country championships. We would get together and as a coaching panel and join together and sort of celebrate where we were at, and that's something that sticks with me often. Getting James and Lachlan to nationals is fantastic. It's something that I find really rewarding, and when I see their faces at the national championships and they're just swimming at another meet, and I don't think they understand fully the enormity of the success that they're having as two junior swimmers. Probably another achievement was being able to coach Bradley Doolan into his first World Championship final in Italy, at his first international competition, and seeing him come from 8th place and raising his rankings was just amazing.
Probably between 1961 and 63 we were in the top 3 clubs in Victoria. We had 3 top swimmers. There's Peter Doak, myself and Peter Roselli who were in the top 3 swimmers in Victoria. So we had very, very strong relay teams, medley relay and freestyle relay teams. And in fact, we had people in the club queuing up to be the 4th member of the relay teams quite often. But anyway, we won quite a number of Victorian titles in those 3 years. As a family, I suppose, I'm fairly proud that myself, my sister Elizabeth and my brother Hugh all held Victorian titles in those 1961 to 63 years. I had the men's open freestyle. Elizabeth held the under 16 freestyle and butterfly titles, and Hugh, my brother, he was in the 4x200 relay that held the Victorian title. So we all held Victorian titles then.
My favourite memory as a swimmer is probably countries in Geelong. I think that was just the most fun to swim in front of all the Geelong swimmers and all the old ones that came back, and just being close to home for once and not having to stay in a little caravan. Probably my other highlights were when I came back as a swimmer when I was a bit older. So I decided to swim again when I was about 24. That was really fun. I had the support of the club, and then I made another comeback when I was, I think, the next year, maybe 25, and same thing again. Coach was really willing to help me, and the club was very supportive as well.
Swimming is a family sport. While the swimmers do all the training and the hard work, they can't do that without strong support of their parents, both financial and emotional. And this club has always been very lucky in that it's had a very stable and strong parent group. Not just from the committee point of view, but just from general support around the pool and at competitions. And I couldn't have done it without that tremendous support.
It was pretty much my whole life at the time. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, the training, the squad was a lot of fun to train with every day. It was kind of annoying when you missed a session because you'd get ripped on by everyone for missing a session. It was a really strong team, and everyone was just enjoying swimming and at all different levels, and we ended up being able to come together with some really good relay teams, and do some really nice things.
It's like a family right now, so we've got various levels of swimmers, but they all look up for you as a coach and part of their coach, and it's one whole big family. That's what I feel.
Well, it's probably the most memorable time of my life, really. When we first joined, my brother and 2 sisters were made most welcome by the club. We had so many friends that time there was a general environment around the club where everyone had fun. When we went to different club races at the Eastern Beach or at the country titles, different venues, or inter-club pennant swimming. Everyone just felt like a big family, and it was a really fun, friendly, enjoyable time. Yeah.
I think being part of the Geelong Swimming Club is like being part of a family. Like, everyone's very close-knit. You know, the people that I swam with back in 2012 I'm still friends with now. You really grow a really tight bond through swimming.
Looking back, I look back at my time at Geelong really fondly. I look back and think of all the training, the competitions, the racing, and I look back and just think, wow, what an amazing team and culture to be a part of.
The Geelong Swim Club for me has been probably one of the biggest communities I've been a part of in my life. I owe so much to the swim club, from obviously started as a 7 or 8 year old to now as a 25-year-old. It's just been a place where I've always been able to go and be myself and compete and have a laugh with my competitors and learn so much from not only my coaches but from my peers, and build massive, awesome friendships. The closest friends I have in the world are kids I grew up swimming with, and I think because you get to know them on a more vulnerable level every morning at 5:30, you don't want to be there together, it's cold, and you get in your togs and you sort of develop really strong connections with these people and coaches like John. So the biggest thing for me has probably been that sense of community and sense of being and belonging. It's definitely been it.
Being a member of Geelong Swimming Club was like having a second home and a second family. I felt like I had lots of extended brothers and sisters, which was awesome. Lots of older role models and an opportunity to be a role model to younger swimmers at the club. Yeah, it was really like a second home and a place to be vulnerable and to succeed and to celebrate all of our achievements together.
I think what motivates me is to swim fast. So whether that's for myself as an athlete, and I still consider myself to be a swimmer, or as a coach helping the swimmers achieve their goals and to swim fast. Swimming fast is what I like and what I enjoy. And that could be in training, it doesn't have to be just in the competition. I love seeing the kids swim fast in training as well.
What motivates me is just the dedication to like do better every single time I swim, I race, I train. It's just, there's always a level ground of where you can be at, and then there's always a time where you can get above that. And a lot of the goals that John has put towards us, and now Sam, he's trying to get us to work harder, work faster, but also still put in our technique aspects, which is amazing.
I think what motivated me really was the people around me. It wasn't necessarily getting to states or getting to nationals, whatever it was. It was more so being part of a team, working together, you know, meeting up with your friends every day and having fun. So I think that's more so what kept making me come back rather than the actual swimming. And the club just always wanted to provide the best outlet for swimmers, whether that be learn to swim or be at a national level, and I think they've achieved that so far with a bit more progress to go.
What motivated me? Good question, Luke, because I also had a day job as an assistant principal at a secondary school, and so that took up a lot of time. But I think just working with young people who really wanted to be there and achieve, you don't always get that in teaching. I think that's what motivated me, and just to celebrate and enjoy their success along the way, and also to build something that really made a difference. And I guess that's one of the reasons that I enjoyed being head coach, because it wasn't just about coaching on deck, it was also about helping to build a community with other people.
Well, most of us will probably answer the same question. We wanted to get to nationals and get those state times and make finals, but for me, I just wanted to be the best person in the pool, and not only race to get a time, but to do that race well, and also to be a good person in the sense of being a good sportsman, being good in and out of the pool.
What motivates me as an athlete, and what are some of my goals at the club whilst I swam? So we'll start with goals. So my goals at the club whilst I swam were to make those Victorian teams. So much was emphasised on trials and making those teams. I felt like it was different to states or doing a PB. You were either in the team or you weren't. So for me, to get into that team was just my absolute goal. And I slowly got less competitive as I went along with less events. And I think my last team trip to Darwin, I was in the relay, but I was just stoked to be there. So that was my goals at the beginning. As I got more involved in surf lifesaving, my goals changed. My goals have always progressed as I've progressed. Originally it was to make a national team final when I was a junior, and then now my current goal is to try and win the Nutri-Grain Iron Woman Series and the world title again. So things just change as you gradually progress. And what motivates me as an athlete? My goals motivate me. So being the best athlete I can be and turning up to a race knowing that I'm the best athlete there, well, hoping that I've done all the work to be the best athlete there and knowing I can win, that's one of the best feelings. So that's what I channel when my alarm goes up at 4:30 and I go swimming. It's hard to think about those big goals all the time because they seem so far away, but that's what really motivates me to get going and just trying to be better and better each session if I can.
What motivated me as an athlete was probably my peers a lot of the time. I'm not sure whether I was definitely self-motivated to a point at getting up and getting to training, but I just wanted to beat everyone. So once I got in the water, I knew that if I could get myself to the water and and I used to get myself in the water by just enjoying swimming. I just loved to get in the water and swim. But what motivated me to get better was just to beat everyone. I didn't want to be second. I didn't want to be third. I didn't want to be fourth. So every time I rocked up to training, if someone like Fraser Marnie or Luke Rush or Clutworthy or Parkinson or whoever it may be were training well, I had to train better because I wanted John to go, gee, Mitch is training all right, or gee, Mitch is swimming well. So yeah, I got myself in the water, but then it was to be better than everyone. That's all I wanted.
So I've been very lucky to work with the multi-class swimmers through my time at the club. I started off as one of the junior coaches, so working with the younger people, but my natural or my background is people with disabilities, so I've been very fortunate. I've taken three of our swimmers now overseas to the World Down Syndrome Swimming Championships. I've also had two of our younger members go to nationals for the last 2 years. This year would have been the third year. Being able to build our numbers so that the club is seen as one of the more inclusive clubs throughout the Swimming Association, and shown, I guess, the abilities that people with disabilities can have, and that there are really no barriers in swimming. But that has also been very much because of the attitude and acceptance of the club as a whole to be able to take people in and give them a chance to prove to be who they are.
When Phoebe first started, she was very lucky to be included because at the time they had one other Paralympian swimmer, but he was way better, so Phoebe was very much at the lower level, but they accepted her, and through Fiona Skinner, and then, as Phoebe will talk of, Rebecca Barnes, she was included, but she very much was the only one there, and she went to countries and they were included with the boys, they marshalled with the boys, there was no differentiation or no real acceptance. It was a little bit just, I guess they were trialling, the whole process, but it's evolved, and it's a great thing really, because there is a pathway for all swimmers with a disability, multi-class, but at that time there was a very specific pathway for swimmers with Down syndrome, which Phoebe was obviously very lucky to be part of. So yeah, we're very grateful that it has evolved.
Okay, in 2008 I was elected in the Giant Down syndrome swimming team. I went to Portugal and I got my first gold medal and first world record. I have hundreds of medals, and I have broken 2 world records 75 times. I currently have hold 15 world records.
I think being so included, I think when you have a child with a disability, the big thing is inclusion. And so often people have experienced alienation in their sporting clubs, be it basketball, netball or whatever, but Phoebe's been very blessed, I think, to be included. So to see the whole club behind her when she's competing, and clearly she's much slower than others, but to see that is a very special thing. And to treat us exactly the same. She's included in their special days, their events, etc. And the cheering, it's been a wonderful thing. And we're very much the older ones now. Obviously, I am, but it's wonderful to still see the younger swimmers so enthusiastic about her participation. It's great.
John Beckworth was probably our main motivator. He made time to sit down with us and go through all of our individual goals and what we wanted to work towards, and made sure that each of our training sessions were catered to us, so that we developed our particular skills that we had to achieve our goals.
John was a great coach. John has been my favourite swimming coach. He was very hard, but he knew exactly what he wanted you to do, and although he was a man of few words, he was still very good at communicating to you what he wanted you to do and how we could both achieve that.
Well, John has been a big part of my life for many years. Been swimming with him I'm pretty sure I was with him since I was about 14, 15. So being 22 and having him as a mentor and a coach has been a really big experience, especially with not being the best at school. He's always been there in the background helping me when I need to, whether it's school or swimming, and he's always got the time to come out of training and do one-on-one sessions if you really wanted him to. He's always been a big mentor and a big aspiration for me. With Sam, he's very driven. He's a very driven coach. He knows what it's like to be there. He's been there himself. He's been to World Championships. He knows exactly what needs to be done to get at that level, and that's what he's implementing towards our club. It's amazing to see how much he's building the club as well as what he's changing with it, and it's always good change. It's no bad change. It's really good to see where the club's going and where it can still go in years to come.
Well, probably when I was Victorian champion and record holder in 1961, I won the 100, 200 and 400 freestyle, and also the following year the same records I created then. In 1961, with my first Australian titles, I came second in the 100 freestyle. That was probably one of the most memorable years, because in the heats of the 100 freestyle I qualified fastest in the heats, and my time was just 0.8 of a second outside the world record. So I was fairly confident for the final. Anyway, I came second in the final, and I was pretty happy with that. And in the following year, 1962, I came second in the 200 freestyle, and again the following year, 63, came second again in the 200 freestyle. And in the Australian teams, the first team I was in early 1962 was the touring team against the Japanese team, where we toured around Australia. And then the following year, later that year, the Commonwealth Games was in Perth. I was in the Commonwealth Games team, and in the 4x200 relay we won the gold medal and broke the world record. And then the third team I was in was the following year, 1963, which is the team went to Japan, East and West Germany, Russia, England, Sweden, Denmark and Norway.
Right. In 1964, the Tokyo Olympic Games, in the 4x100 metres relay we got a bronze medal. In the 4x200 metres freestyle we got fourth. 15 minutes earlier than the 4x200 relay, two members of our team got first and third in the 1500 metres, but we missed out by 1/10 of a second. Anyway, that's the way it goes. I was a member of 2 world record 4x110 yard freestyle relay teams, national teams, and I set a world record in one of those teams, setting a Commonwealth Games record in the heats of the 100 metres freestyle. I was very happy with that, but unfortunately the people in the next event broke my record. In 1967 I won the Australian 100 metre freestyle title, as well as the Australian surf belt title at the National Surf Titles in Adelaide. Member of 3 Australian teams, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, and an Australian surf team to tour South Africa, where we won 5 tests.
Definitely my most memorable achievements would be getting a bronze medal with the Geelong Swimming Club relay team at the 2005 Brisbane Nationals. My team members were Phoebe Steinfurt, Caitlin Schneider, Liv Dalton and myself, and we won the medal in the 4x50 freestyle relay, and achieving a bronze medal, an individual bronze medal in the 50 freestyle at the 2006 Sydney Australian Age National Championships.
My most memorable achievement would definitely be making my first ever national team when I was 12. Only made it for a relay, but it was the most amazing experience that I can remember having ever as a kid and ever as swimming.
I think, not listing them in any particular order, but my biggest achievements in the pool would be countries and state finals, medals there. And I also think being club captain, and I really enjoyed being a part of a successful team and relay teams as well in there.
Geelong Swimming Club for me has always been, as I said before, just a fantastic place to feel like you belong, a fantastic place to just be yourself and work as hard as you can and meet like-minded people who want the same thing out of life, and that's just to be happy and to be fit and to be healthy. And in saying that, it's always been a place where not only it was not only enjoyable for me, but my family and mum, dad and my sister Adele have all loved their time at the swimming club, and still catch up with families from our swimming days regularly, and they're probably the deepest connections we've got in our lives. So the swimming club for me has been massive, which is why at this age I've decided that I wanted to come back and give back to the club that gave so much to me. That's why I want to stay involved, and it's definitely been a huge part of my life and influence on everything that I've done.
So being part of the club has been awesome. As I said earlier, 12 years of being part of this great club and seeing how it's grown. It's always been a successful club. I remember when I was a junior swimming at another club that isn't around anymore, the Geelong Swimming Club had a pretty strong history. Being able to come and be part of the growth and the development and the future of the club is pretty exciting.
I think the most important is to enjoy it. When you stop enjoying it, you should go and do something else. And you know, I've talked a lot about process over the years, to focus on getting your technique right, to understanding what the racing skills should be, and practicing those every day in training until you actually perfect them to the best of your ability. It's all about individual excellence, I guess, and that operates at all different levels for people. It doesn't matter, but swimming should be fun, and that's what results keep you coming back, but it's also about enjoying it, enjoying the company of other people, enjoying the work you do with coaches. One of the great things about swimming, as I said before, it's a family sport, so families have to do it together, so that also helps you develop a really positive relationship with your parents, and I certainly have a great relationship with my children because of that, my involvement with their sport over many years.
I'm just very proud to be part of a club that's got a 135-year history. It doesn't matter where you're going, Geelong, it doesn't matter who you talk to, someone has had some sort of affiliation with the Geelong Swimming Club.
It's just an honour to be a part of Geelong Swimming Club. It's an honour to work with Glenn as well. Glenn Benson, the current president, he's phenomenal, and we just wouldn't be here without him. And he puts in a lot of hours, like more than you'd ever guess and ever think of. He's very passionate, very considered man, and I know I take a lot of inspiration and guidance from him. And it's you know, I'm sitting here right now doing this with you because of Glenn Benson, and that permeates throughout the whole club. So thank you to Glenn for making not just this video happen, but a lot that goes on within the club.